high school.
The women's 100-meter hurdles. They're in the blocks. And it's a fair start. In lane 3, Michelle Freeman out well. Can anybody catch her? Michelle Freeman in lane 3. Angie Vaughn in lane 5.
Angie Vaughn ran an incredible race because she was so far behind. And when you're in a race such as this one, she knows for a fact, because that's her training partner, Michelle Freeman. Michelle Freeman always gets out very, very fast. She's also been a world champion indoors. Now, Angie Vaughn knew that she was out fast, but you know what? She ran very smart because she said, you know what? Michelle is out there quickly. Run my own race, run in my own lane, and I can win this race. Take a look at the technique here. Angie Vaughn is on the left side of your screen. Michelle Freeman in the green on the right side. Even stumbles at that point, and that might be the point where Angie Vaughn was able to catch her. You see Melissa Morrison in the middle smashing a couple hurdles, puts her out of the race. Angie Vaughn's shoulders were very, very straight, very direct. That's what a great hurdler has, especially a woman. See from the side, look at the lead Michelle Freeman puts up very quickly, and that's Jillian Russell with the number 7 on her hip in the green. But look at Angie Vaughn walking Michelle Freeman down at this point as she gets a big jump at the end of the race.
Surprised with Cheryl Dickey's performance here?
Well, you know what? In this type of race, you don't know what's going to happen because, you know, you hit a hurdle and you're out of the race. It goes by so quickly.
Morrison finishing 6th. Melissa Morrison. First is Ann.
Told you forever.
Hey, let's go, Sarah!
Wow, nice. San Diego State. Taylor Randi from Nigeria won the Wildcat herself. Nicole Thomas from U of A in 4. Nicole Boyer from Tucson Elite in 5. Lonnie Randi from Nigeria won the U of A in 6. Randy Smith, Washington State in 7. Jeanette Beatty, Marquette in 8. Autumn Wood, Washington State in 9. The fastest qualifier lined up in lane 5.
Go, Nicole! Come on, Nicole! Let's go, Nicole! Again, Nicole! Again, Nicole!
Or anything else.
Get it, Randy. Good job, WSU.
The inside, Shepard, Craig, Smith, Durfee, Green, Monahan, Gabbard, and Wilson on the outside. And Brooke Wilson on the outside for Nevada, running very strongly here.
Oh, yeah. They died the wheel?
Yeah. That's right. This some came in right here, was here, and they sent him back. It's down on the
Wilson on the outside, Durfee and Sky Green in the middle of the track.
One came from Spain, one from Africa, they got mixed. Most of the ones come over.
Down the main straightaway.
Most of them, they were Spaniards. They was working on the sugar cane field.
Randy Smith. And Smith. Higgins, McKnight, Rosenblatt, Smith, Grant, Lawyer, Thomas, Durfee, and Phillips. And in the middle of the track, this is Visa Grant. Dennis, Yates, Axley, Smith, Dangerfield, Gross, Holman, Bedford, and Barres. It's Jean-Paul Holman for the Bears.
All right, Tom, thank you much. We have had a delay in the start of the women's 100-meter hurdles, problems with the electronic timing. We'll talk to Dan about that in terms of just exactly what that does to you. The runners to watch here, Randy Smith for Washington State in lane 4 and Agneta Rosenblatt for Washington State in lane 7. Just 2/100ths of a second apart in their best times, 13.72 to 13.74. Dan, the delay, about a half hour. How difficult is that to handle mentally?
Well, it really hurts your warm-up. You have a certain time you're getting warmed up for, and it just hurts your preparation time.
Had a clean start. Randy Smith off fine in lane 4, and she's the leader with Rosenblatt. And it'll be Smith and Rosenblatt as advertised. And the difference about exactly the same as their times coming in.
An incredibly important race for third place there. You saw Trina Higgins in lane 1 there trying to lean in to get the sweep.
And we'll have to wait and see if she did officially get that. We'll get a chance to take a look at this race one more time. There's Randi Smith striding out.
She's really made great gains in the high hurdles this year. She never really considered it her race. She's more of a 400-meter intermediate hurdler, but ran great at Tucson, and again last week at Stanford. Seems to be just running better every week.
Let's go downstairs now to Tom Fuhr. Tom?
Randi, the 30-minute delay, how much did it affect you in the race?
Well, the only thing it affected me was I had to try to stay warmed up for a little longer. But we're down there talking, and all of us are trying to stay focused mentally. And it started getting a little more windy and colder. But other than that, it was fine. We just always down there staying together mentally.
You have had a tremendous improvement this year from your freshman year. Great high school runner. What has been the difference?
I think I'm more determined and more dedicated. Last year I was kind of real homesick and, all that good stuff. But this year I tried to come here with a positive attitude, train harder, practice harder, all that good stuff, and it's paying off.
Great, thank you very much. We'll look for you in the 400 hurdle.
It's 400-meter hurdles. The race Dan O'Brien says isn't fun because you jump out of the blocks and get a blast of wind in your face to get things started. We'll see Randi Smith again for Washington State. She'll be running out of lane 6. Kelsey Shepard, her main competitor for the Huskies, running in lane 7. Smith and Shepard. And just not a lot of fun, Dan, to pop out of those blocks and get hit by that wind.
Oh, that's where it's blowing the hardest, too, right on this first turn. Get a good look at Kelsey Shepard there. 59.55 last week at Stanford. Randi Smith also had a big personal best last week.
57.61.
That's right. We even got a little bit of, here at Washington State, we even got a little, we got a PR out of Autumn Wood, who ran 61 seconds.
Washington State women comfortably in the lead in the dual meet, scoring at this point. Husky men leading on the men's side.
Keep an eye on that first set of hurdles. You can always tell who's ahead by who comes off those hurdles first. You don't really watch the race as it develops. You watch those hurdles to see who's touching down first.
Again, Smith in lane 6, Shepard in lane 7, the favorites in this one. And Randi Smith off to a quick start for Washington State.
Well, Randi Smith, coached by former intermediate hurdler Mark McDonald from Washington State here. So he really knows what he's talking about when it comes to coaching this event.
Smith and Shepard really, as we expect, setting the pace. The 57.5 is the NCAA automatic qualifier time. Smith 57.61 at Stanford a week ago. Randi has the lead with a couple of hurdles to go. Randi Smith for Washington State, Kelsey Shepard for the Huskies. Battle for third. Looks like it'll go to Siobhan Hawkins.
Another good race for Randi Smith there. Looks like 58.10 unofficially.
Not bad in this wind. Let's take a look at the team scoring now after Huskies have entered Letitia Moore, Kelsey Shepard, Chelsea Pence, and Asya Muhammad. Idaho with Brenda Knipp, Debbie Ogden, Catherine Dallas, and Janine Corus.
Coach Sloan will never admit it, but he loves triple figures on those scoring. 102. He's going to be happy with that one.
Entrants have changed a little bit for Washington State, especially since they are in command.
Randi Smith, a lot of races today. She's ultra tough. Always the first one.
Long strides, already making up the stagger.
She's always the first one to volunteer for this 4x400 meter relay, even if they don't need her.
She'll hand it off to Heidi Abersfeller out of Kennewick.
First leg runners go in their lanes for the entire lap around the track. She hands off to the second runners. They'll run the first turn in lanes and then they'll break to the inside.
Nice 400 by Randi Smith to complete her day's work. Here goes Heidi Avers.
unattached in lane 2. Looks like Naoko Kobe.
Randy. Big man. What's up, man?
On the inside, Shangnia, Rippart, Miller, Davis, Pryor, Fowler, Wable, Smith, and Rosenblatt. Arkansas, Gigi Miller, lane 3.
Ooh.
And on the outside, Nebraska, Emily Wable. The winner will be G.
Come on, Randy.
From the inside, Becker, Gibson, Harrison, Green, Bell, Matt, Sabatini, and Murdoch. Washington State, Brent Smith is in lane 7. Lane 3, Vaughn Harrison. National Junior champion, Vaughn Harrison, running for Fila and running well in lane 3.
Come on, Randy!
Well, the Johnson Neal, number 6 in the NCAA this year for Texas. Leah Thomas, Herman Wright, Randy Smith. Side out Honolulu. Go, Randy! Now, side out Honolulu. Texas El Paso. Monitor inside to Randy Smith of Washington State. The halfway point. Honolulu Smith. Go, Randy! Cole Hoxie for Texas leading off of those teams, side by side. Into the first handoff. LSU and Texas together. Tommy Robinson for Texas. Down the man, LSU. On the inside here, South Carolina with the Deidre Robinson. Texas. Keisha White out in front. The handoff to Leah Williams. Anchors for South Carolina. Leads the Barber. Olivia Thomas, side out Onondaga, doesn't a man. Randy Smith, Tanya Jarrett, Angel Patterson. Coming into the second hurdle.
Let's go, Randy! Go, Randy!
Angel Patterson has the leader.
Yeah, Randy.
Let's go, Randy!
Keisha Williamson of South Carolina. Into the final stretch and final 2 hurdles. Harrison, Williamson.
Yeah, go, Randy!
On finish from Randy Smith of Washington State. Angel Patterson of Texas.
Idaho State and Mount Hood.
They'll run the entire race in lanes. Washington State, Eastern Washington moving up on the inside. Going to the center of the track, Idaho State and Mount Hood.
12 feet 3 inches. Casey Malone is at 2:04.1. Ian Winchester of New Zealand, 2:07.2, and Glenn Smith at 2:02.2. Those are the top throws after 3 rounds from the distance. Gibson, Derby, Murdoch, Williams, Davis, Green, and Smith. Trevia Williams-Davis in 7. And Hartwig on the vault runway, 3rd trial.
Go, Randy!
American record 19.9 1/4. Trevia Williams-Davis in lane 7. Trevia Williams-Davis down the main straightaway. Trevia Williams-Davis, Sky Green, and Natalie Gibson on the inside. And Trevia Williams-Davis is the
get out of debt.
The women's 400-meter hurdles now, and favored in this race, 2 young ladies from Texas, 1 from Washington State. Leslie?
That's right. From the outside in, Angel Patterson is #1 in the nation with a time of 55.50. Tanya Jarrett inside of her has the second fastest time with 55.86. And rounding it out, Randi Smith from Washington State, 57.61. We got to start there.
Just about ready to go. Runners in staggers. And we'll watch them all the way around that first turn.
This really should be a fight between Tanya and Angel. They are teammates as well as training partners. But
Tanya just pulled up. She just pulled up.
She did. Oh, she didn't go down, so that's a good sign. Now, Angel Patterson then is outside, and there's a big gap between Angel and Randi. Randi's in lane 4, so it's going to be very difficult for Randi to take advantage of that and pull off of Angel. And Angel is a little bit vulnerable out there that far.
And Angel made up the stagger in that race early, and you know about that, Leslie.
That's right. Her form is a little bit rocky. She's probably tired having fought that wind on the first stretch. So as she enters this back stretch, they're going to want to use that wind to help them reach their stride and successfully clear these hurdles.
See if Angel Patterson looks like she might have lost that lead now. Let's see what happens.
Right. Randi Smith is on her, but Angel was able to power her out at the end. It had nothing to do with her form and everything to do with her shape.
So it's Patterson the winner, Smith is second, and Williamson of South Carolina is third.
Ooh. It's an ugly race when you have to run against the wind like that, but in times like that, you just want to finish and go for that win.
Now, there's the injury right there.
Oh, yeah, and we've been told that it was a misstep that caused a cramp for Tanya Jarrett, so she will be okay. And you can, right there, you really just see her muscle grab.
She did the smart thing, didn't she?
She absolutely did. There's no reason to push it out.
There are the results of the race. Angel Patterson, the winner.
From the inside, Harry Johnson there. Smith for 2 leaders. Tasha Danvers in lane 3. Tasha Neal in lane 8. Tasha Neal of Texas in lane 8. Natasha Danvers in 3. Randi Smith in lane 6 for Washington State. But Natasha Neal of Texas and Natasha Danvers of Southern Cal. Very close together at the 7th hurdle. And moving up on the inside of the hill, Perry, UCLA, challenging Danvers. It's Danvers and Perry across town rivals in Los Angeles. Perry of UCLA, Danvers of Southern Cal. Danvers now back into the Danvers, Perry, and P.J. Gale. Natasha Danvers, Ortiz 58.93 and Neal 59.32.
Good.
Bigger. Bigger.
In the team score as we look at the 4x100 meter relay, our first event today. The women, of course, always women's first, as it should be.
4x1, USC and UCLA are the favorites right in the middle of the track. And for USC, Angela Williams, one of the best starters in the country, to lead things off for the women of Troy. SC in 4, UCLA in 5. Ebony Grayson for the Bruins. Those are your favorites. Pac-10 meet record 43.9.
Jimmy, this really is USC's race to lose. Watch for the baton passes. They're critical. Angela Williams out very, very well, but watch the way they pass the stick.
Angela Williams will hand to Candace Young for USC, and Michelle Perry will be second for UCLA.
Not a great pass for Williams to Candace Young, but she had such a huge lead. Candace Young now stretching it out down the backstretch for the Lady Trojans.
Candace Young now will hand it to Malika Edmondson, one of the great names in sprinting for USC, and Edmondson opens up a big lead for the women of Troy.
Mother and father, both great sprinters. Barbara Edmondson, her mother, the coach at USC, as they hand off now to Kinshasa Davis. It's all over. No red flags. And SC in a walkaway as we expected.
And now the race is for second. Shakita Jones for UCLA going to hold on. USC first, UCLA second, Arizona is third in the women's 4x1.
And unofficially 43-48 would be a new Pacific 10 meet record by a lot, and that record was 12 years old. Impressive running by the ladies of Troy.
Nice effort by Arizona to get up for third. UCLA was second all the way around. Kinshasa Davis uncatchable in the straightaway. And it all started Angela Williams, another great bolt from the blocks.
Well, here's Angela Williams on the right of your screen passing off to Kinshasa Davis. And Williams probably had a 4 or 5 meter lead on the entire field because of her great opening leg, that terrific opening speed out of the blocks. Kinshasa Davis just stretching it out down the back stretch. Now, here's a very conservative pass, not a great one, to Malik Edmondson, and then just running it in. It's Candace Young, by the way, on the back stretch. This is Kinshasa Davis, and you give her a lead. There's not a whole lot of women in the collegiate ranks that can catch her. Unofficially, a meet record for the ladies of Troy, 43.47. That's an old record that they broke, Jim.
Angela Williams, Candace Young, Malika Edmondson, and Kinshasa Davis for USC, and they will all be
next to each other in lane 4 and 5 today at the Pac-10 Championships.
You know, I have that race on tape. I've looked at it 4 or 5 times. I still can't figure it out. We'll have to settle it here. Perry and Danvers right in the middle of things. Miriam Shumba from USC. Agneta Rosenblad from Washington State in the middle of the track. Don't forget about Randy Smith, also from Wazoo, in lane 7. Pac-10 meet, Gail Devers, UCLA, 88, 12:61.
That stiff NCAA qualifying standard, 13.10. Nobody in the conference has that with a legal win. So this is an important race. The wind has been down all day. So the way Danvers looked yesterday, very possible she could get that NCAA automatic qualifier and go under 13.10. Danvers also, of course, we'll see later in the 400 intermediate hurdle. She's a 2-time defending champion at the Pac-10 in that particular race. Second in both 98 and 99 in the short hurdle race.
Michelle Perry, the defending champion, of course, 13:37 last year. In the race back in Los Angeles, these two got right in rhythm with each other, stride for stride over the last 3 hurdles.
And that happens in this event, something you don't want to have happen. Natasha Danvers, being from an excellent hurdling background, when you can run the 400 hurdles as well as she does, all she has to do is do speed work in the 100, get the technique down, and be quick between the hurdles. That's what Michelle Perry has. It should be very, very close.
Perry ran 13:15 in the prelims. And a little lean, and Danvers got left in the blocks.
Well, she flinched at the top in the set position, and the starter may determine. You know, in the collegiate ranks, there are no false starts. You false start, and you are DQ'd from the race, and that would be huge for USC, because all she would have to do is just finish the race and get 1 point for 8th, but she is a favorite to win the race. We'll have to see what the starter decides that they're going to do. Let's watch her flinch there. You see how she started to move forward. There's a very good chance that they will remove Natasha Danvers for a false start. She's looking straight ahead. She does not want to look at them.
Yeah, she snuck a couple of peeks out of the corner of her eye, but she knows any news is going to be bad news right now, so they'll confer and talk about it. Michelle Perry trying to stay focused.
Saw that happen a few years ago to Otto Bolden, the great UCLA sprinter at the NCAA championships. In the semifinals, he false started, and that put paid to the hopes of UCLA's men trying to win the team title in that particular race. They've not taken her out of the race, and she's got a long season ahead of her. She's from Britain, expects to be making the British Olympic team to go down to Sydney. Long season for those athletes who will end up in the Olympic Games. The U.S. trials are in the middle of July in Sacramento. But they have decided that no false start will be charged.
Good call?
I think it is. You hate to see something like that happen on a close call.
Perry in 4, Danvers in 5. And more movement.
And sometimes you really can't tell if it's a starting situation. The gun may not have fired. The timing device may have not been ready. That certainly didn't look like an athlete that had jumped, and they're not even going over to the athletes to discuss that. But this is just, it just racks your nerves. It's a sprint race. Getting out quickly is very important. The wind seems to be well down right now, so some of these taller athletes like Danvers don't have to worry about being pushed into the next set of hurdles when you've got too much wind. And it appears as though there was just a gun that did not fire, or the timing device was not ready.
You build up exactly to time it for the start. This is the third time they're going to have to crank it up again.
And when you're running multiple events, which Natasha Danvers is doing here, as is Michelle Perry, that just takes it out of your legs. To be in that position, your legs contracted, ready for that one moment that you hear that sound and firing out, it takes a lot out of your legs.
One more time, they fold up into the blocks. Shomba in 3, Perry in 4, Danvers in 5, Rosenblad in 6. Clean start this time. It looked like Michelle Perry got the best of it. Perry with Danvers already in her wake. It's Perry and Danvers trying to rally late. Not going to get there, not enough time. Michelle Perry, UCLA, going to win this one. Natasha Danvers, USC is second.
And Miriam Shamba came up for third, so it's 14 points for the ladies of Troy in this race, but certainly not as close as the race we saw a few weeks ago down at UCLA's Drake Stadium. Michelle Perry defending her title, two-time Pac-10 champion. And as you said, Jim, Michelle Perry definitely got the better start. She goes over the first hurdle just about even, but then starts to pull away at hurdles 2, 3, and 4. Danvers is pressing and unable to catch her. Shamba in 3 is doing a good job maintaining that third-place finish for the ladies of Troy, but Michelle Perry winning easily, unofficially 13.02, which would be an NCAA automatic qualifier. And Perry looking very, very focused here. Gets a little bit turned there on the 6th hurdle. Danvers pressing hard, just cannot catch her. And Perry, for the second year in a row, comes away as the conference champ.
Two-time defending champion now, Michelle Perry, staying by with Tom Fuhrer.
Michelle, 13:03 with a pretty nice sizable gust of wind that came just before the race and some distractions at the start. Did any of that affect you or bother you?
No, it didn't bother me because I know anything can happen at the start. I just had to maintain my focus and execute like I was told to.
Next up, NCAAs, how do you think your chances are?
I think I have pretty good chances because on any given day, anybody can perform, and I just got to be ready.
Well, congratulations. Another Pac-10 victory, your second, and back up to the booth. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Michelle Perry. Thanks very much, Tom Fuhrer, two-time defending champion in the women's 100 hurdles. Women's hammer earlier looking for a two-time defending champion here as well.
Jennifer LaVale, the junior
Pac-10 championships at Hayward Field, University of Oregon in Eugene on Fox Sports Net. Jim Watson, Dwight Stones, and Tom Fuhrer. And this thing just keeps getting better as we get deeper into it. Women's 400 hurdles and a rematch between Michelle Perry of UCLA and Natasha Danvers of USC. Perry won the earlier meeting in the 100. Two-time defending champion Perry in the 100. Danvers, two-time defending champion in this race. As you look at the rest of the field, April Hollivers from Cal, Candida Colson, ASU, Randi Smith, Washington State, then Perry and Danvers, Kelsey Shepard, UW, Nicole Thomas, Arizona, and Siobhan Hawkins from Washington is in lane 8. Natasha Danvers.
As we mentioned, she will be competing for the British Olympic team in Sydney this summer. She has won this race twice at the Pac-10 level. Hasn't been quite as successful at the NCAA. Janine Vickers, the bronze medalist from the Olympics, is the record holder for the NCAA. Natasha Danvers has the meet record here from last year. NCAA qualifying 57.30. Randi Smith of Washington State just outside that automatic qualifying mark.
Wind starting to pick up now.
Perry has an advantage in that she gets to watch Danvers run, but I expect Danvers to really take it out and just put the race away as early as she possibly can. Randi Smith moving nicely at Washington State. Michelle Perry having some step problems early in the race. She's already chopping between hurdles.
Danvers running pretty smoothly down the back, measuring it.
Michelle Perry is well out of it. She's 5th or 6th at this point and does not appear as though her race is getting better as well. It's Danvers is just completely dominating. She'll now start to pick up that tailwind as she comes off the final turn.
Danvers unchallenged right now as they start to straighten out. Kelsey Shepard, UW, and Arizona's Nicole Thomas on the outside, battling for 2nd place. Michelle Perry with a late rally. Maybe enough to get 3rd for Perry of UCLA, but Natasha Danvers wins the 400 again.
And Michelle Perry comes back from the dead to get 3rd. On the straightaway, it looked like she wandered out of her lane, but in the straightaway, that's not a problem because you don't gain advantage when you're on the straightaway. If she'd done that on the turn, it would have been a problem. Michelle Perry having problems very early in the race. Natasha Danvers running her race. She had her race plan down. She bucked that headwind on that backstretch extremely well. And this is just her race by comparison. The 400 hurdles is just her race. As you see her coming down the final stretch, still very strong near the end. She picked up that nice tailwind coming down the home stretch, but ran a gutty race down the back stretch to let everybody know it was her race, that she was going to win it. Michelle Perry did a lot to get back up for 3rd, almost got 2nd.
And Danvers put that race away in the first 200 meters, going out quick. I'm not two-time defending champion, but 3, Natasha. She wins the 400 again. Check out the men's shot put from earlier.
The NCAA is just around the corner.
Bumi Ugunleye for UCLA, the opening leg, hands to Izan Williams. And for SC, Danvers to Malika Edmondson.
Danvers ran 53.7 on her opening leg, so that was a good first leg for Danvers. The surprise was Bumi Ugunleye running so well for the Bruins.
Now, UCLA is in very good position right now, second behind USC. Looks like Arizona State trying to make a move, also University of Washington at this point. But UCLA just needs to stay in contact, not allow themselves to drop the baton or have the baton knocked out of their hands, and not do anything like run on inside the curve or impede anybody's motion like USC just did there. We'll have to see if there's a flag there. That might not have been flagrant enough for a flag. USC, University of Washington, UCLA at this point.
And this pretty much clinches the team title for the Bruins unless a disaster hits. Williams has run a terrific leg for UCLA and kept him right here, very close to USC.
Little contact between Izan Williams for UCLA and Chelsea Pence from Washington. In fact, Pence got knocked around a little bit by both SC and UCLA.
54-2 for Malika Edmondson, now handing off to Kinshasa Davis.